Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So, banking course lots of classes have been taken. Mine is economics. My name is Lokeshwor. Perhaps some of you are already aware of me. I mean, GFC Loba, who have already taken GFC and changed to banking also. We have met some times ago. I mean, now as a quick class stage, because ours is a banking course, economy is very important. Indian economy or the economics is the most important, perhaps the most important subject among all. So the economy is the kari question what questions you might expect that can be asked in this banking, especially for the generally the way they use to ask questions from economy is a little bit complicated in other examinations like combined graduate level, higher CGL, higher then other graduate level examination. The hangbadagidi banking the hangba economics ki questions it's a little bit tougher than others. So that's what we are going to do. But ours is just a classic introductory class. It's a kind of advertisement for myself. So let's see. Connect to So having said that, my name is Lokeshwor. So I will be taking the Indian economy or the economics. Yes, ours is not a normal class. Normal class, not we are not going to start from the beginning. I will pick up one topic pick up. We will be summarized about it. Later on, we will discuss from the beginning itself when normal classes class but today topic let's try to do this. See, I have heard people saying that actually the world is run by politicians. No, that is not. I want to look at a little bit differently. Actually, the world, whether it's a democracy or capitalist or socialism or any kind of social systems in the world, every kind of government in the world, they are run by the bankers. I want to say that. Not because bankers exist everywhere in every country. No, not because of that. Rather, it is the bankers that keeps the movement of every economy alive. For example, whether you are in India or not capitalist countries like USA or not other dictator countries like Myanmar, whether you will move forward or not depends on the banking system of the country. Banking system to karigumba sound hek oiraba development haibdo automatically lakane. Development lake the banking system hana phachana thoroughly laigadabani. It should be penetrated. Every nooks and corners, every levels of the society, the penetration to work banking. That is why India the one of the main factor why India is not that much developed is because our banking system doesn't penetrate. Penetration is late. For example, Manipur the higher banking have say yambana banki kudong chaba phangise Imphal Valley maya Imphal manung je khatani so concentrate or Imphal gi commercial hub sida khatani. Other satellite village oina laigiba yamna remote oina laigiba singa no, there is no banking facility. There are lots of family members like houses like madu banking account for them they don't know what you mean by banking. So what I'm trying to say is that banking is the engine for growth for every country, whether you are living in a democratic country or a capitalist country or socialist or dictator, whatever. Next, business among all business there are losses and gains. Paisa mangba paisa lose but banking is such a system in which there is no such thing as loss. Yes, loss fraud yes, obviously madumadi mange banking system stage the loss there is a very interesting topic that we shall do a little quick today's introductory class banking is a system in which money is created. Creation of money by the banking system that is very interesting. Apart from that, we will also be talking about how banking enables the overall banking system enables the credit creation. credit creation hai base line lo ba yade. Actually, credit creation is this is such a topic that if you understand it very thoroughly, you will open your eyes. Till now, I can firmly tell you that Manipur da Ponzi scheme yamna tawi yamna kaire bank macha kai bigi wathok every now and then theng victim mayam ama lei victim sing dugi marakta lairik haiba mi su mayam yawi. Yes, there are some illiterate paisa khara pairaga low inkolio laga thamuba dasa tabasu yawi, but there are some victims are there who are even professors also, doctor also, engineer also, contractor also. Adu yamna educated oiraba mi amana Ponzi scheme da fraud da Manipur da victim oirisi karigino haiba taragadi financial system da illiterate oiba ngaktani. Financially literate oide Manipur se aduna banking ki matang se important se kya kanna khangna de. But once we understand, yes, definitely Manipur se yamna fast paced the banking system, the financial area da yamna kano tauba northeast countries in marakta we are the highest in terms of banking the, but this is not comparable with other countries. Aduna ekhoi development lakpa taragadi we will understand the importance of banking. mayam go na prospect yamna laiba kaino ne masi je ekhoi gi banking je karigino haiba taragadi banking is something that cannot stop expanding. Expansion tauba lepoi doba area of sector industry haiba taragadi banking system jini. Infrastructure lep khibi ai paisa leiti haidana lep khibi ai, education system expand tauba lep khibi ai, tauba banking haibasidi is an every year khudingi expansion dun laigani. Aduna mayamgi course the banking the mayam series the yauriba singja, don't underestimate yourself. There is a high probability that you will be able to crack examination. Not because you have to be assumption when wakan the sagalaga wakan pong the nungayo haibadi nate, but actually it do happen in our Ibemhal banking the the course the successful oiba mi mayam amalai every base almost batch khuding makki khoi successful oiba adum yawi aduna still you can there is a very high chance that you will be able to crack it, provided you have to khitang kano tauba natraga di wakan thada traga di yauri bani hai yawi kanade. Anyway, having said that, mayamgi kenosta banking sida yamna seriously logadabani. Yes, I heard that some of you have already admitted. Actually, today is the last day for the introductory classes ki last day ni. From Monday onwards, we will, I don't know which days, but most likely from the next day onwards, we will have the full class swing, the full class like set. So you take the decision, because then that opportunity will not knock at your door. You have to search for the opportunity. If you want to search for the opportunity, then this is the perfect platform, because success rate of Ibemhal banking is wangi. At the same time, Manipur koi notice ki oni yengo matam the banking the yamna award oiba state chingji manakta amo oi aduna you have very high chances aduna. Anyway, let's see what do you mean by Indian economy se karam maina hangbano banking da. Either it may be IBPS ki OBI, natragana RRBs ki OBI, natragan it can be clerical also and PO also. How questions are asked, we will do one by one when our real classes lakmatam, the normal classes lakmatam, we will talk about that. Even we will have tests also. Yes, if condition improved we will have physical class the we have tests also. Offline the tauraga the test so test the previous year question, how they ask and how you should answer that, and what are the tricks by heart of body are there. Understand answer you have to use some tricks also. So what are the tricks that we can use? So we will be talking about that in the normal classes. But for me, this is the introductory classes. Let's try to connect you and me. I'm trying to introduce one idea called money and banking. Mayamgi oina thagadoribe exam sigi oina su. Then at the same time, in overall Indian economy, the important idea. So we have this idea of money and banking. Yes, don't expect me to introduce from the definition of economics, because mine is introductory class. I'm just picking one, just important from the examination point of view. Important point let's see. If you have any queries, you can answer question message So what is this money and banking, and how do you approach this? Then the way in which they ask question in this money and banking, this is money and banking. Noigi thagdor exam sida hangdoba mawong se money and banking the yamna concentrate oigani. Maruin especially in this idea of money banking sida we have one idea called monetary policy. This monetary policy, this is the area where lots of questions used to ask. Anyway, as I told you, if you have any doubt, you can ask me. But still, I will try to explain something, just the introductory part of this topic itself also. Now let's see. First of all, how do you define money? Money is a define to. Now, what I'm trying to say is that from a common point of layman person point of view, when I say, what do you mean by money? It doesn't make any sense. Money is money, nothing else. But if I ask you again, what do you mean by money? Money ki definition se karino hai hangba taragadi. Now things becomes a little bit complicated. It becomes complicated because the layman's point of view of money is not the definition of money in economics. In economics, because somebody definitely will be able to crack examination. So once you enter the banking system, once you enter that, either it may be a clerk once you enter that system itself, you will realize that, oh, the idea of money is totally different. As a common person, point of view, the money is something which is coins and currency. That's it. But from the point of view, from a bankers ki point of view, from economics point of view, money it's a little bit different. Money in economics refers to, it can be anything. It can be any kind of money, any kind of anything, but illegal. Any kind of things, assets, which are used as a medium of exchange. Karigumba medium of exchange oina bu hek sijinaraba madu bui koi money haina consider to yare. See, for the common person, for a common person, layman amagi point of view the money refers to the coins and currency that we use for the buying purposes, etc. But economics point of view, or from banking point of view, the money has, it can be anything. This word anything is very tricky one. Anything, yes, as I've told you, anything which are legal, not illegal. Anything which are used as a medium of exchange. Now, the thing is that when I say anything, it can be physical form of asset OBI, not virtual form of asset OBI. Or when I say anything, it means that this asset can be of useful asset to us. The useful kana ba asset kana the ba asset. Oh yes, you heard that right. It may be useful or not. Still, it will be called money if that useless thing to us as a medium of exchange. I'll give you one example. I know the example of you. See, you have the example of this 10 rupees coin. You have a 10 rupees coin with you. Coin to give metal though. That metal on which this 10 rupees is minted, actually that metal itself is not useful to you. No one the kind of the native. But still, that useless metal on which this 10 rupees is minted becomes money for you because it is used as a medium of exchange. Another example. You have gold, a piece of gold. Let's assume that a piece of gold is accepted by a vegetable seller when you approach that vegetable seller to buy a 1 kg of, or whatever, any kind of vegetable. If that vegetable seller accepts that a piece of gold, this piece of gold, then that piece of gold is a money for you. And this gold can be useful to you also. Either nang sije jewelry oina sijinabu oibusu yai natragana any form of any kind of luxurious item on topusu yai. So either it may be useful things or it may not be useful. Still, that will be called money if that is a medium of exchange. Now that's it. Aduna money hai matamda we refer to anything which which act as a medium of exchange. That's it. But don't forget, we are talking about illegal, legal only, legal assets only. Now here it goes. This is the idea of money according to the banking system, according to the economics point of view. So see, as I've told you, this is introductory class. We cannot go through every details. I'll tell you very interesting one here. I suppose you have heard of these cryptocurrencies, this blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. Why they are so popular in the world nowadays? Nowadays, not before, but nowadays. Why they are so popular? Popular. Or in another word, there is a different idea of value. Value idea say currently it's changing. I don't know whether you know it or not. Mayam economics the importance kya low the bagi khang the boy rambadi ay. Currently in the world, in this current trend, in this 21st century, the yamna chawba change sama haiba taragadi. The idea of value is evolving. Evolving very slowly, but rapidly it's evolving. I'll give you one example here. I suppose you have heard of these NFTs, non-fungible tokens. NFT hai karino. You have come across like nipaduna magi NFT sale the this million amount rupees has been collected, etc., etc. What is this NFT? This idea of NFT and this cryptocurrency, they are somehow related to each other. They are related. For example, this idea of this traditional idea of money, the coins and currency, the coins and currency in your idea, money the coins and currency. That is the traditional idea of money. In that traditional idea of money, there is an idea of value. Rupees 10 that rupees 10 that rupees 10 let's say that this is rupees 10. The idea that this is rupees 10 signifies that it can buy one pen, one marker, one pencil, whatever. That is why these rupees 10 carries the idea of value. It doesn't carry the idea of value and useless. That is useless. Value on top of yadaba taragadi money ni high roy kana roy di. High rupees 10 the important in a low that rupees 10 can be converted into another valuable assets. Then that idea of values, it's changing. Why it is changing, first of all? It is changing because the traditional idea of money, the traditional forms of money, the coins and currency, they are directly controlled by the central bank. Central bank are directly controlled to it. And there are some people who are highly educated enough about this financial system. They started to, revolt against this control of the central bank. Central bank na control to against evolve to. That is why they started the idea of this cryptocurrency, which is on the basis of blockchain technology. Anyway, blockchain technology, we are not going to do that. In this idea of this cryptocurrency, the value of the money is not controlled by a central authority. Rather, it will be in the hands of the holder itself. For example, you have a Bitcoin. What is the value of the Bitcoin is not going to be decided by the central bank. Rather, it will be decided by the holder, me. I know decide. Let's say that I'm the only, okay, actually, this is not correct. Actually, I'm not the only, I know this is the, in reality, there are millions of people are there who have cryptocurrency. But let's say that if I'm the owner of that one of those million people, if I'm the owner of that cryptocurrency, then I will decide, I and only I will decide the value of this cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, nobody else. So, in this case of money, I could coins and currency, the value of this coins and currency will be decided by a central bank in India, which is called RBI. RBI no decide to knowingly or unknowingly, rupees 100 in your pocket right now, the value of that rupees 100 can be either increased or decreased by central bank. RBI no decide to. That is the power of the RBI. And because of that, people started revolting against this intervention of the central bank. That is the idea of introduction of this current cryptocurrency. Correct. So in that way, the idea of NFT is rise to the beginning. But those things, as I've told you, we will be talking more about this kind of detailed things in our normal classes. Ours is introductory class for today, so I will be giving you the hints only, just important points. So we know what you mean by money. Idea. Now let me try to tell you something about this. Money has a, if you have rupees 100 right now in your pocket, nangi pocket nangi account lupa chama lay that rupees 100 right now in your pocket is useless if you keep that rupees 100 still. Lupa chama nangi frikhaw da dum hapaga thamba taragadi, even though it as a kind of a security for your future purchases, right now there is useless. Madu kaim the kanadip for the country. I'm not talking about you, but for the country, it's useless right now. Why I'm saying that? Here it goes. Out of the rupees 100 you have right now in your pocket, nangonda lady lupa chama do, madu do nang na puthoga hore numidang wairamda. Hotel chalaga, cha glass ama lupa tara thaktu ure. Now that means 10 rupees spent out of that rupees 100. 90 rupees is still in your pocket. This 10 rupees here, masisina hen important oi banang lemhori ba 90 to the. This 10 rupees is more important than the 90 rupees that you have after drinking 1 cup of tea. Why I'm saying that then? Because out of that rupees 100 to manungda, that rupees 10 that you spend, this rupees 10 is responsible for the creation of somebody's income or somebody's employment. Rupees 90 nangi frikau das save bududi. Yes, nangi wina kanabu oirambi, it may be useful for yourself, but that is not useful for the overall country, for the entire economy in a kanadip. Then we have an idea here. Are you clear with this? In my example, rupees 100 labado nang frikau do dom thamadi kanade. But if you spend, if you let's say that spend rupees 10 in the consumption of some any kind of beverage, that rupees 10 is more important than that remaining 90 rupees still. Why? Because this 10 rupees creates employment and income for somebody else, and this is how it is important in the economy. But that 90 rupees, it acts as a security for you, but not useful for the overall economy. That is why this is not so much important. This 10 rupees is more important. From here, we have an idea. Idea is that if you spend more, if I spend more, if he spend more, if all of us spend more, it is good for the economy. Economy go in a pay. Why? If I spend, if you, they, all of us spend more, there will be demand increase, overall demand increase in the economy. In order to meet this increased demand, the factories, the producer have to produce more goods and services. But in order to produce goods and services more, this factory will be employing more goods and services again, more factors of production again, thereby increasing employment and thereby increasing income for the laborers, for the factors of production providers. That is why spending more is more useful. And here in my example, rupees 10 is more useful than the 90 rupees. High riba 10 rupees. 10 rupees that you, Mr. A, spend to the hoteler, Mr. B. Mr. B, the spend riba lupa taras hai. This is what we call money supply. There are different interpretations of money supply. The easiest definition or interpretation of money supply is that it is the amount of money which is in circulation. Let me repeat this one more time. Money supply hai taragadi. We do not refer to the total amount of money in the economy, in the country as money supply. No. Rather, we refer to the total amount of money which is in circulation in the economy. For example, we may have $100 trillion in our economy as in the form of coins and currency. Coins and currency, the $100 trillion. But amount out of this $100 trillion, if we have $3 trillion in circulation, then this is what we call money supply, not this amount of total amount of money. Rather, the amount of money which is in circulation is known as money supply. Money supply. This money supply is more important than this $1 trillion. Okay. Actually, it doesn't happen in the real life. As we am the difference, but I'm just giving you an example here. So we have this second idea of ngasi joina ani suba idea later. There is the idea of money supply. So money supply is an important oi. Total amount of money dagi. That is the conclusion. Now let's ask this question again. Why this amount of rupees 3 trillion in my example? Why this 3 trillion money supply is more important than the total amount of money? I have already answered you that. Answer is that this total amount of money, rupees 100, may or may not, most likely may not, leads to creation of employment or the income. On the other hand, this $3 trillion, which is in circulation from one entity to another, from one hand to another, circulate that directly leads to creation of goods and services, that directly leads to creation of employment, that directly leads to the increase of somebody's income. That is why. Now you know what I mean by money, what I mean by money supply. But don't worry, we will repeat everything in my normal classes. Here comes the important point for today. This money supply is directly controlled by the central bank of the country. In our case, RBI. RBI directly controls the money supply in India. To be specific, this is Monetary Policy Committee. Monetary Policy Committee ka to kona tausi, but for the time being, RBI. Under the RBI, there is a highly specialized body which is known as Monetary Policy Committee, MPC. Aduna tha ani khuding meeting tawi ekoi MPC ki ko madu meeting ki matang ki kata voting system. We will talk a lot about that in our normal classes, but for the timing, let's say that RBI. Money supply in the economy is controlled by RBI. RBI na control tawi. See, at the beginning I told you the importance of money supply. Money supply ki importance karino ay high grade. Now I'm telling you that this very important money supply is directly controlled by RBI. RBI na directly control tawi. If they want, they can increase the money supply. If they don't want, they can decrease the money supply. You might be asking, why they need to control this money supply? Money supply is control to answer that question, at the very beginning, I told you something about this traditional form of money and high definition. I told you that the traditional forms of money, their value can be either increased or decreased by central bank. Remember that? The traditional form of money of coins and currency, their value is directly controlled by RBI and high. That is the answer. RBI, if they want, they can increase the value of rupees 100 in your pocket. Lupat chama nang you freak out the yauribado, madugi value henkat and bayayab. If they want, they can decrease the value of rupees 100 in your pocket. Either increase or decrease the value of rupees 100 in your pocket is the decision of RBI that they can make it whenever they want. So, not for all, but for somebody, you might be asking, what do you mean by the value of rupees 100? Here is the answer. Actually, lupat chama value se karino haina khanbado. Here it goes. Rupees 100 let's say that if in the year, okay, day number 1 on day number 1, my rupees 100 can purchase 10 kg of rice. Rice 10 kg tara laibi yarame. The value of rupees 100 is 10 kg on day number 1. Day number 1 10 kg laibi. If RBI want this same rupees 100 on day number X, I don't know, day number X if RBI want, they can intervene and increase the value of rupees 100 to 20 kg of rice. If RBI want, the same value of rupees 100 can be increased from 10 kg rice to 20 kg of rice if they want. So when I give this example, something knocks to your mind like, oh, this is regarding the price of a product. Yes. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that when RBI controls the value of money, they control the inflation in the economy. That's my conclusion. Actually, not conclusion. That is the summation of this idea. By controlling the inflation of the country, they can increase or decrease the value of money. Don't forget, inflation haibase. When inflation increase the matamda, decrease the matamda, the value of money also increases or decreases accordingly. Okay, so that is what I'm saying. When RBI wants, they can increase the value of money in your pocket. In my example, if they want your rupees 100 can be a value of 10 kg rice. If they want on day number X, they can increase to 20 kg of rice. This is how RBI can intervene the value of money. Now let's see how this RBI is able to increase or decrease the value of money. Money ke value se karam increase decrease to wholly no. In another word, how this money supply is controlled by RBI. RBI na money se karam control to no have do. Yeng si as I told you, ekoi gis da samlap na yeng ga ni. I suppose every one of you heard of the monetary policy. Haidana loina taram mani. Tadraga sudum kaimta kaide as I told you. Detail in my normal classes, I will do it very detailed. But you have to be very attentive. In case if you have any doubt, you can ask. Now let's say that India the banking system quite at the top of our banking system we have this RBI, the Reserve Bank of India. Under this RBI the bank all those banking system madugi skeleton body do a normal classes you don't need to buy her them. By her you don't just buy her. I will tell you a trick how to understand them. All those banking system madu loina ignore tawrasi for the timing. Let's talk about the scheduled commercial bank. Consider because these are the most important banks in the country. So let's talk about the relationship between SBI and the RBI and the scheduled commercial bank. You can give the example of scheduled commercial bank as SBI Gebra, Punjab Bank, Punjab National Bank, etc., etc. You can give those scheduled commercial bank. ICICI, whatever. Before I start this, I'll give you some examples, some stories. Actually, this is not story. I will try to connect with this. See, common people like you and me, nang gumba, ay gumba, aikoi common people, aikoi na, being the paisa thammise, karigino. Yeah, mostly we deposit our bank, money to the bank in the form of saving account to deposit like fixed deposit, lots of time deposit, lots of things are there, but commonly people like you and me, these common people used to save our money in the form of saving account the word itself is very interesting one. Saving account. What do you mean by saving account? Saving meaning they don't use another words. They only use this word saving account. What do you mean by saving? Saving it's a kind of a sense of security for us. Means in order to save keep manghandana thamnana ba haidana paisa do thamjanba khatre nangi bag ta thamado tahawba yai imana ba paisa sandokib do halakta ba yai laikai gi ini chen da sandokib do halakta ba yai manghan gi ba yai tawdabu bank ta thamagadi safe oire habigi wakhand saving account haibne. So this saving account the thamiba paisa se this you keep this money, you deposit this money not with the expectation of return, rather with the expectation of safekeeping only. Safekeeping khaktang gi khalla kan nang na paisa de thambani adubu kaino toruga thambadi natte. So having said that, saving account the common person nang na thamiba paisa se. Now this saving account rupees some amount of money that you used to give to the saving account of the scheduled commercial bank SBI hairasi madudo nangna ahenba paisa leiraganda thambani kana gumba mi amadi those who don't have money paisa darkar taba either car leibu oigera house leibu oigera whatever in for any kind of purposes those who needs money paisa darkar oiba mi singi oinadi they will be borrowing money from you nangondagi paisa pugudoine. So this is the relationship between common people and the scheduled commercial bank. Scheduled commercial bank ka common people ka relationship se machine So we have excess money, we will give it to the scheduled commercial bank for the safekeeping purposes. If we need money, we will borrow money from the scheduled commercial bank. That relationship between scheduled commercial bank and the common people like us, this is the money supply. Now, there is a very interesting question. Earlier in one batch, it was asked, can RBI be called People's Bank? People Bank ko yagadra haina hange. Answer is no. RBI cannot be considered as People Bank. People Bank haina considered to yate. Why? Because you common people like you and me, Mr. ABC, XYZ, you can have direct banking relationship with you and the scheduled commercial bank. Scheduled commercial bank nangagi direct relationship laibadi yai. You cannot have direct banking relationship with you and RBI. RBI is a bank account. That is why RBI is not People's Bank. Rather, they are known as Bankers Bank. We will be talking about these RBI functions, but they are known as Bankers Bank. What does it mean? India the lady but schedule commercial bank singja moigi bank oina mathau tawib. When this scheduled commercial bank have excess money, they will put it to the RBI. This scheduled commercial bank needs money, they will borrow it from the RBI. That is why the same way in which SBI functions toward us, RBI will function towards the scheduled commercial bank. That is why RBI is known as the Bankers Bank. Now here it goes. Matang this the why the scheduled commercial bank in my example, under which condition scheduled commercial bank will be depositing money? Paisa se kaidobagi RBI the paisa se thamgadoino. You can ask this question. Definitely you can ask this question. When or how? You can ask any question. Like why banks need to put money to the RBI? RBI the paisa thambadar dari se karigino. To answer that question, here is an example here. The moment you, Mr. XYZ or Miss XYZ, whoever, you deposited rupees 100 to me, I'm the SBI. Let's say that I'm SBI. Nangna nangi account SBI da lupa chama hek thamakku matamda. From that day onwards, not day, from that moment onwards, from that hour, second, minute onwards, I will start counting interest rate to be given to you. Nangon the interest rate count small it may be. Per annum it's about 6 to 7%, something like that. But 6% per annum ujibataragasu. The moment you guys deposited rupees 100 in my bank branch to your account, the clock has already started ticking to count the interest rate. Let's assume one condition in which SBI, I want the lady balupa chamasa. This rupees 100, actually it doesn't happen in real life, but I'm just taking an example. The rupees 100 you guys deposited. Common people, I want the Noina, I want the SBI, I want the lupa chama deposit. That rupees 100 is not being taken by anybody else. But you know, I told you something. Actually, this rupees 100 is supposed to be borrowed by somebody else. Kanagumba mi man ay loan logjage, EMI the car logjage, haibada ay nasijinagadabani. But nobody took this loan. Kanamta na paisa si lobi dabataragadi. I have a problem. Problem amali. It's not a simple problem. I have a very, very huge problem, very complicated problem. What is that problem? The problem is that if nobody takes this money, but on the other side, the clock has already started ticking to count interest rate to be given to the depositor. Depositor do not thamakko paisa do. Madudugi interest rate tinanaba. I have already started ticking the clocks. But this rupees 100 is not being taken by anybody else. Every second, this rupees 100 stays with me is a loss for me. Every second, every minute, every day, I'm losing money. That is why, as soon as possible, I have to use this rupees 100. Why? Because I'm giving you interest rate to the depositor. That is why this scheduled commercial bank, when they need money, they can borrow from the RBI. But when they have excess money with them, moina karigumbe scheduled commercial bank money se excess lerpa taragadi, and imagining that assuming that nobody is taking that money, then this scheduled commercial bank will just transfer that money to the RBI. RBI the paisa to transfer togine. This is how banking system between RBI and scheduled commercial bank takes place. In the same way, scheduled commercial bank and a common people takes place. Actually, in a common people, it can be an entity also, corporate or a company. I'm just giving an example of 2% only. So this is how it happens. But let's go to the next level. Next level of the system. At the very beginning, I told you that RBI controls the money supply. Money supply is either there will be circulation of rupees 100 like or 200 like it is directly controlled by RBI. RBI control using different tools. Lots of tools are there. Those tools I'm going to talk about that. So using certain tools, RBI controls the amount of money circulated in the economy. Economy the paisa kaya amna circulate no RBI na control tawi. So madu dune ekhona tawudu. So ngasigi yamna maru iba point amo ina, what are the tools used by the RBI central bank to control money supply in the economy? Samsam nahibat argadi, these are the tools of money supply. Money supply is a MS ire. Tools of controlling money supply. Controlling money supply. Money supply control taunanaba tools singse kari no haibaduni. Don't forget the meaning of money supply to nishingo. As I've told you, there are different interpretations are there, but I'm giving you only one example of money supply definition. There is amount of money in circulation. Actually, amount of money in circulation between scheduled commercial bank and common people. Common people dum low. It can be corporate, it can be shop, it can be whoever, but common people haina low. Common people noiga. Scheduled commercial bank aiga aikhoigi marakta circulate tawriba amount of money to madu money supply kawi madu RBI intervene to yai haibani increase to yai decrease to yai karamine increase decrease to go no using different tools. What are those tools? Here it goes. So tools of controlling money supply set, these are broadly classified into two headings anigi makha hana khaidoi. First is known as qualitative money supply tools. Another one is known as
quantitative.
Oh yes, obviously yes. Quantitative money supply tools. Now, first of all, I will talk about this. What do you mean by qualitative and quantitative? Ani sigi difference karino have say hierarchy. Actually, people often get confused between this qualitative and quantitative. Ani se confused yamna chatli. Yes, people khangdi khangba adu ani sigi specific difference ti kya khangna de. Let me talk about this. In the qualitative money supply tools, under this qualitative, we will be talking about those tools because of which the total amount of money available remains the same. Oh, something is here. In the qualitative, the total amount of money available remains the same, but the direction of use of that available money though, it will be different. Let me tell you again one more time. Qualitative the amount of available money is if 2020 the 100 rupees ki money supply in 2021 the 100 rupees ki money supply it doesn't change the total amount of money available. What is the difference here is that in 2020 the where this rupees 100 was used will be different in 2021. I will give you one example here. I'm just giving you an example here. In the year 2020, the amount of money supply available was rupees 100. Available available, actually it's more than this, but I'm just giving an example, okay? Now, this rupees 100, let's say that among these three sectors, primary, secondary, and tertiary haidana sector ahum lay. Sector ahum is the our banking system, the entire banking system of the country is allocating 30 rupees to the primary sector, 20 rupees to the secondary sector, and 50 rupees to the tertiary sector. This is the distribution of amount of money available in 2020. But in this qualitative, after applying this qualitative se karigumba ikhoina apply toba tarba, then in the year 2021 da there will be a slight change, but this change same rupees 100 ti adum leijagane. As I told you, amount of available money remains the same, remember that. But this available rupees 100 ki UCD, it will be different. Let's say that primary, secondary, tertiary, that same rupees 100 to masaidi 30, 20, 50 haina tauhibani. After the application of this qualitative money supply tools, primary sector ki allocation now changes from 30 to 40 rupees, 20 to 30 rupees. Now, somdana 30 rupees. Still remains rupees 100. 2020 also, 2021 also, rupees 100 remains the same. But the direction of use of these available rupees 100 are different when we compare to 2020 and 21. So these are the tools which are responsible for the change in the direction of use of available money. They are known as qualitative money supply tools. On the other hand, quantitative study, in this quantitative, in the year 2020, let's say that rupees 100 was there. In the year 2021, the available amount of money still it changes. I mean, still nothing. 2020 either it may be more than rupees 100, less than rupees 100. That exact available amount of money will not be the same when once we apply these quantitative money supply tools. It may be 90 OBI or it may be 110 rupees OBI. So this is how, if the physical availability money changes, that is because of the quantitative money supply tools. If the physical availability of money remains the same, but that use of available money changes from one sector to another, importance change change that is because of the qualitative money supply tools. So now you know the difference. Qualitative doesn't change, direction changes. Quantitative, that amount itself changes. It may be more than rupees 100, less than rupees 100. Okay, assume later. Again, examination because yours is banking.
If the use of money change lakadra. Quantitative the use of money to the change lakadra. Primary, secondary, tertiary.
Yes. Direction the change to was direction the change to consider whether there is a change in the direction of use of money or not, we don't care. The physical availability of money itself changes. That is quantitative. Direction change we don't care. Change physical availability of money change quantitative. Now, interesting question is that economy actually this time it's applicable for every country, not for India only, but for every country. Economy qualitative ka quantitative ka effective way, or which one is more important in an economy? Every economy applicable. Let's stick to India. In Indian economy, which one do you think is most important, more effective? Answer is quantitative. Quantitative tools is more effective. Hen effective quantitative. Qualitative ke example because this is not so much important. Quantitative focus piece. Quantitative for example, margin requirement. Explain kitang matam changgani. I will just give you some slight example of what do you mean by margin requirement. First of all, list margin requirement OBI. It can be rationing. Lots of things are there. Complete rationing, like it can be direct actions. etc., etc. We have lots of this qualitative also. But I will give you one slight example of what do you mean by margin requirement. Margin requirements, see, whenever scheduled commercial banks borrow money from RBI, central bank, masigi relationship se kaw sungya yade RBI ga SBI harge ko SBI oigera Punjab National Bank oigera whatever RBI central bank siga SBI ke lainari relationship se either it can be lending of money by SBI or borrowing of money by SBI. It may be either, it may be. In case karigumba SBI sina, if they want to borrow money from RBI tiki karigumba paisa pugo pamba taragadi, they need to submit some collateral khara submit tawdaba yade. When we say collateral, I suppose you know what I mean by collateral. Like for example, if you are applying for any loan in bank to kariyuba loan apply to matamda you need lots of documentation, goal OBI natragan inkhol gi pata gumbo OBI land records, so there are lots of things you needed. Those are known as collaterals. Similarly, this SBI, when they apply for loan from RBI the loan apply to matamda they need to submit some collateral khara submit to darkar type. Without collateral, okay, there are some money markets are there where collaterals are not needed. That we will talk later on. Hariba collateral singjigi marakta khwaidagi common oibase government security haibasina oib. So again, government security are of different types. As I've told you, we cannot go through there. Madu thenguba yagiro ngaktang amtang yeng. Government security is a general idea. This government security, they are a form of an asset issued by the government of India and being traded by the RBI. Okay, anyway, it's an asset. The value of this government security, I have a paper here. Let's say that this is a government security. Let's say that this is a rupees 100 worth government security. Lupa chamagi worth of government security. If you use this government security as a collateral by the SBI, then SBI will not give you exact rupees 100. Lupa chama exactly piru. You are the SBI and the RBI. You want to borrow money from me for which I demand collateral. For collateral, you submit me government security. What is government security? It's very lengthy one. It's an asset. Just know that. The government security right now that you want to use is of rupees 100. Lupa chami goiba government security use okay haina khan matamda I will say yes, but in return I will not give you exactly rupees 100. Let's say that after submitting government security of rupees 100 to the RBI, RBI the submit matumda RBI will give you 96 rupees. Lupa 96 p rehay nikhalasi. The difference between the face value of collateral government security you submit and the amount of money that you receive, ani sigi difference for se masibu khoina margin requirement thaira ka khangai. Got it? RBI if want, this margin requirement can be increased or decreases. For example, if they say margin requirement will not be 4%, rather it will be 7%, the amount of money that you can collect from RBI will reduce. Similarly, this margin requirement by increasing or decreasing will be able to control the money supply. Madhu idea. But as I've told you, qualitative is not about hand important or quantitative. Qualitative ki di mayam like lay, but koi stage ta naktang ignore ta ugise. Ay koi real classes lakko matam, the normal classes lakko matam, the thoroughly taus. Under quantitative sini ki makhada. This time quantitative se khara sangi aduna ay mayay go na pulap oy na naung na ithok. So we have these quantitative tools and quantitative khaktang hai na ire. Quantitative ki makhada amu. We have different subtools are there. First of all, the first one is known as legal reserve ratio. LRR, legal reserve ratio. High level legal reserve ratios. Again, this legal reserve ratio are again classified into two. First one is known as cash reserve ratio, CRR. Another one is known as
SLR.
Yes, statutory liquidity ratio. Okay, liquidity si iramage LI. There is a reason why this is called liquidity. There is a reason why this is called cash. ratio is the RR is the R hai na dum irage short dum irage ko. Aduna either case reserve ratio or SLR, we have this CRR and we have this SLR. Don't forget the topic. What is our topic? This is the control of money supply. Tools of controlling money supply. Money supply control tools. Don't forget tools case reserve ratio and SLR. All of them are tools because of which RBI can control money supply, either increase or decrease money supply in the economy. How they will be able to use it, we will talk about that. Here it goes. For example, I used to give this example, very yamna arrive example and extremely effective example and easy to understand also. Yamna laiba and easy to understand example am pike. See, there is a person you nang harasi nang nasakhalasi. When you have excess money with you, paisa ahin makara nang nalaiba matamda, you always try to save with banking. Banking system da nang account am hangaga save tawna hona doini. I was giving the example of SBI, so let me give you the example of SBI. You have an account with SBI. When you have rupees 100 with you, you know that if you have that rupees 100 in your pocket, safekeeping you want to deposit this rupees 100 to the SBI account. SBI account to deposit. Yes, no problem. Here it goes. There are two types of deposits are there. There are different forms of accounts are there. Most common one is a saving account, but here it goes. Nang na tawgodori account says saving oigera, all those deposits are of two types. Ani thona khaido. One is known as demand deposit haiba ama. Another one is known as time deposit haiba ama. Either this time deposit is also known as fixed deposit, etc., etc. Different names are used. Adunane mayamna deposit tawge haina chang matamda form da ko DD form haidana laibani mayamna paisa thongge ha matamda munni yangsandra gadi khangdabasu yai tawudabu form do deposit tawbagi receipt form do madu munni yango mathakta DD mathak tor mataida DD form haina thabani madu demand deposit form haibani Korean nataba demand deposit aduna demand deposit haibama time deposit have different form khaidokra but for the timing let's consider this demand deposit. Most of the people, generally almost all the people in the country have demand deposit, one or another demand deposit. Current account pangna hangnade, time deposit kya lena de. Demand deposit haibigi athadi. As the name suggests, whenever you demand, you can withdraw this money. Nangna withdraw taroga sijinaba yaba paisani haibaneba demand deposit have. So I'm SBI. You guys open an account with me, demand deposit account, saving account. What is the basic idea of saying demand deposit is that if you deposit rupees 100 to me yesterday, if you want, you can withdraw it today itself also. If you want, you can withdraw in the evening also. That is the idea of demand deposit. Mado, keep that in mind. I have a reason to ask that. Out of this rupees 100 received by the SBI na phangiba lupa chamado, madudo. As I told you, the clock has already started ticking. The moment Mr. A deposit money to the SBI will be counting interest. Interest count over how grabani have done. Aduna SBI, in order to avoid losses, they have to make use this amount available money by giving loan to Mr. B. Actually, loan khatang piraga paisa tawgada banati. No. I'm just limiting my example to common one only. Common oiba example da khatani koina kano tawrise. Let's follow a moment. Okay. Now, the problem is that out of the rupees 100 SBI received in the form of deposit tawriba lupa chamado madudagi SBI na percentage khara kakha uraganda they have to subtract, they have to deduct some percentage and keep with themselves. Similarly, out of this rupees 100 SBI have to deduct some fraction of money and deposit to the RBI. Aduna takpudi lupa chama deposit over the lupa chama mak SBI na sisinaba ngamde. Out of rupees 100 deposited here, a fraction, I don't know how much it is, let's say that 4%. Actually, this is not 4%, I know, but 4% is deducted by SBI and maintained with SBI themselves. Another 6% is deducted by RBI, SBI, and given away to the RBI. RBI the pithokre. That means out of rupees 100, 10 rupees has been deducted, and 90 rupees is free to use by SBI. This 90 rupees is known as money supply. Machine money supply has. Adubo, I quick example the. In this example, 4%. This 4% to be deducted by SBI and to be maintained with themselves is what we call SLR. On the other hand, the amount to be deducted by SBI and maintained with the RBI, this 6% is known as cash reserve ratio, CRR. This money supply, amount of money circulated between common people and the scheduled commercial bank, anisigi marakta circulate tauriba paisa se 90 rupees. This 90 rupees can be manipulated by RBI if they want. RBI nabu pamba targadi. This 90 rupees manipulate over yai. Either it can be increased, either it can be decreased. Increase, decrease tohon bi yai if RBI want. Why? Because RBI has the power to either increase this SLR or decrease the SLR. Similarly, cash reserve ratio can be increased or decreased. Increase, decrease, loina toba yabanina, ngambanina. RBI effectively control this money supply 90 rupees. If they want, it can increase more than 90 rupees. If they want, if they can decrease from 90 rupees. 90 rupees they can decrease to Aduna SLR and CRR by increasing or decreasing. Increase or decrease or money supply in the economy can be effectively controlled by RBI. RBI effectively controlled over YAI. But I told you something about this. There is a reason why this is called cash. Actually, if you want this definition of SLR and CRR to definition, I'm not giving you that definition itself because I have a reason. We don't know. In my example, I said that rupees 100 out of rupees 100, 4% is deducted. That is just an hypothetical, just narrow example. In real life, it's not that easy. In definition of SLR and CRR, you have to use one idea called net demand and time liabilities. NDTL idea, but we don't have time to explain all the ideas of what you mean by NDTL. So for the timing, rupees 100. Okay. Aduna, cash reserve ratio, assume the liquidity important. What is the importance? Here it goes. As the name suggests, cash reserve ratio has the current. This 6% is the cash reserve ratio. What is this 6%? This is the amount of money deducted by SBI out of the rupees 100 deposited and submitted to the RBI. Phangiba deposit tauriba paisa dudagi takthalla kanda RBI da pithokiba 6% do madu cash reserve ratio ko. One interesting thing is that this cash reserve ratio is to be maintained in cash only. Atopada amata thambiya de paisa in case so every bank, even imagine bank we have this bank RBI branch in the legislative assembly opposite RBI branch like Manipur. All the banks in Manipur also they have every day they have to maintain SLR and CRR. In case of CRR, every day they will be depositing direct physical currency to the RBI every day. This cash reserve ratio is to be maintained in cash only. Don't forget this. On the other hand, okay, hello.
하이디 사람은 자기 CRR로 담도지가 자기 90 rupees 하이디 90 rupees 담도를 하다가
6% 하이디 짬이 6% is 루파 따룩 따래다. 루파 따룩이네.
Oh, adu lemhori 94 jina karaida
90 jina ne lemhori 90 I have amount of money circulated neba bank tagi kanagumi na paisa puja ge kaina ka lakpa gumba madui circulate tawkiba paisa duni khangadra
adum SBI na adum SBI ge through the pithoki
SBI ge through the pithokpa mane nangna ingonda lupa chama thame dana ko nangna thami du safe keeping gi nebako aina nangi lupa cham dagi percentage khara aingonda khara thamorani maduna SLR kore percentage khara kakthalaga RBI thamrani aingonda 90 rupees lemhoreba 90 rupees kanagumba mi amana ai paisa kita lojage paisa pujage haina lakpa mi do aina paisa pithokidoine madu pithokido money supply ko it 90 rupees money supply ko it yaradra ado nangi paisa di mang badi natte nangi paisa di kaisu mangde madu dani yam interesting orse banks haibase this is the only aina makok thai gibin go this is the only form of business. I want to call it is a kind of a business. Banking is a kind of business where there is no chance of loss. Paisa mangbagi loss ki chances sunglai leite. Kaigino ay matamda the 90 rupees that I give to Mr. B is your money, but I don't care whether you have my permission or not. Nang na phangiba lupa cham do nang I cham do kaisu kai da bi laini out of rupees 100 without losing your money I'm still making use that rupees out of 190 to somebody else. I know mingon gi paisa ong tam do ni matang tam do ni. We will talk about that later on. Okay, here it goes. On the other hand, this SLR, what is this SLR? The amount of money deducted by SBI and to be maintained with themselves. Masa matom na moy masen mana kakatlaga masam da thamogudaba that SLR do. That SLR can be maintained in any form of liquid asset. What do you mean by liquid asset? I will tell you. Not necessarily. Let's say that some of you deposit me rupees 100 in your account in my SBI. I have to maintain 4% SLR. This 4% may or may not be in the form of cash. Cash or if I want, I can maintain that 4% in the form of gold also, in the form of government security also, in the form of different assets. Okay, in any form of assets which are liquid in nature. Any liquid nature, the liquid asset maintained to be SLR. CRRD, it is to be maintained in cash only. SLR in any form of liquid asset. Don't forget this. Okay, this is the first difference. Practice oina mayam da question hangge answer do khoi gi keno da chat box da sasat hairo ai som da muthat khrise ai hangge to bugini. Money supply, though, remember, money supply is the 90 rupees. Okay, remember that. So here it goes. If RBI wants, they can decrease the money supply. Money supply is decrease the way. If RBI wants to decrease the money supply, what do you expect this? In this case, reserve ratio and SLR. SLR either separately or together, either separate or together, or whatever. What will happen to the legal reserve ratio? What will happen to the legal reserve ratio if RBI wants to decrease the money supply? Answer in the chat box. Hurry up.
Increase legal.
Okay, answer is correct. Yes. Kenogi ko. Yes. CRR hai na paru de. Kenogi se. Hare, yes, answer is correct. If karigumba money supply se hantahange hai bataragadi, our legal okay hantahanba. If legal reserve ratio se henkat laba, money supply will decrease. If legal reserve ratio is if you deduct more, money supply obviously reduces. Vice versa, if legal reserve ratio decreases, money supply definitely increases. Don't forget this. Aduna, how we are there? Newspaper da karigumba. In newspaper, like the SLR has been decreased, CRR has been decreased. For the timing, so now, right now, you should understand that if SLR, CRR, etc. increases, decreases, it is going to affect the money supply in the economy. Economic money supply do affection so anyway, let's have 10 minutes break. Minute taragi break lausi. Adu ma'am fresh na leramo. We will resume after 10 minutes. Now, after this, legal reserve ratio si karino hypet khange. After that, we have the second one. Don't forget, this second one is the most important one. Quite important way. This is so important, so much so that actually this is also known as the policy rate of the country. India ki interest rate ki policy rate. So let's talk about the second one. This is known as liquidity adjustment facility. Liquidity adjustment facility. LAF. Under this LAF, we have again two subtypes. First one is known as you know, repo rate. Yes. Second one is known as reverse repo rate. So we have repo and reverse repo. One fascinating thing about this reverse ki amna fascinating point. Please hold on a moment. Reverse ki amna fascinating amana. Sometimes people often confuse this definition of reverse repo rate, and actually it's a lending rate but borrowing rate. No, it's not lending and borrowing. I will talk about this why reverse is little bit different but for the time being I will tell you what I mean by repo and reverse repo. First of all, I will give you a tip. The trick so that you remember it for yes, we will repeat it, but once you I can assure you that you will find it very easy to remember the idea of reverse and repo. Repo ga reverse ka sa khang bada line na ba trick ama haigi yung repo hai ba sa actually this is actually abbreviation oina long form oina haidok sib. Reverse repo reverse is equal to kano si boy si am nuaitre. Hujiki hangira ke doino boy si am nuaitre tahodre ko but sida ke yang se repo sa sumaina khalo repurchasing option aduna why is repo repo repurchasing option rate repo rate haina sumaina by heart to. If you do that you will find it very easy to understand. Karam haina easy oidino munna khallo sida I'm in my own way I'm in translating this repo as a repurchasing option rate haina aina translate oina onto a. I'm doing it intentionally so that you find it very easy to understand. How can you relate this? Here it goes. From the explanation here it goes. For example, schedule commercial bank SCBs singchina RBI from RBI they used to borrow money every now and then. Every day, almost every day, they used to borrow money from the central bank. Why they need to borrow money? First of all, the thing is that if you deposit rupees 100 in my SBI branch in your account, nangi account ngasi nang lupa chama thanamba haibasa, I will make it use in the form of loans to somebody else. Kanaguma mi the loan pito kibo OBI. Natragana government security lesha luba OBI. In different forms, I can make use this money. But the problem actually problem within it. The problem is that this money that you deposited yesterday are mostly demand deposit. Nasay hay demand deposit. Means if you want, you can withdraw in the evening itself also after depositing in the morning or in the next day also. Next day nanang na pamagadi withdraw to busiyay. But you know, because I cannot keep that money for long, for any one more hour, I don't want to keep it. That is why I have already make use that money by giving loan to somebody else, by purchasing the government securities, and etc. etc. I already have used that money yesterday when you deposit that, most likely, instantly. But on next day, you come to my branch and say that I want to withdraw my money. I, as a bank, can I say that I don't have your money? No, that doesn't work. That's not how the banks will work. Actually, I have to make you withdraw your money because that is your right, that is your money. That is why I will borrow money from the RBI so that you can make your transaction. Nangi transaction to yanana pesha pugaduni. Adunani. That is why every now and then this scheduled commercial bank used to borrow money pesha pui. But at the very beginning, I told you something about this. If you want to borrow money, you need collateral. Collateral darkar lay in a high bani. Now, this scheduled commercial bank, because they want to borrow money from the RBI, they have to use government security as a collateral. Collateral in a government security share. Okay, we are talking about day number 1. The left side is day number 1 transaction. Ahoba day number 1 get transaction. Now, on day number 1, what I'm saying is that on day number 1, you guys approach me. Now let's say that I'm the RBI and you are the scheduled commercial bank. In the other level, scheduled commercial bank and you scheduled commercial banks want to borrow money and I say yes, no problem. If you want to borrow money, no problem. I can provide you the money. Nang paisa do pige, nang pamagadi pujaro. IBI. I demand government security from you. No idigi ay na government security kara demand tawrid. Government security do. Let's say that rupees 100 worth of government security do nang na ingon submit tawre. In return, I gave you 96 rupees. Remember that Nangi exact value of government security rupees 100 you will not get in return. There is a reason, but hold on a moment. It can be considered like you guys, you scheduled commercial banks, you are selling your government security to me. Nang na government securities ay ngonda sell tawsalak pani hay na kallo. Kayino sell tawrisa because you need money. Kadikino lots of things. Now, if you are selling your government security, but we have a condition between you and me, nangga ay gimaraktas condition ama delay. The condition is that you have to repurchase it back. I give you a condition that Mr. SBI, Mr. Punjab Bank, Mr. SBI, or whatever, any bank. If you want to borrow money, no problem. You can borrow money from me. You can sell your government security to me temporarily. But under one condition, the condition is that you have to repurchase this government security from me on a agreed period. Let's say that after 1 month or whatever, after a certain period, you are supposed to repurchase the government security that you sold to me back. Amukhana repurchase to godabani haibane. Aduna takpadi. Here is the definition here. When you SBI, you scheduled commercial bank, when you repurchase the government security that initially you sold to me, you have to give me an interest rate. That interest rate is known as repurchasing option rate, repo rate. So after the end of our agreed time period, you under that condition, you are repurchasing the government security from me, and in return, you are giving me you are going to pay me now rupees 100 share. You are supposed to pay me rupees 100 in return. Now, do you see something here? Government security to sale actually the value of this government security was rupees 100. When you sell this government security to me, I gave you 96 rupees. But on maturity, time to matured under our condition, you have to repurchase it back from me. When you repurchase it back from me, I demand you pay rupees 100 to me. From this transaction, I, the central bank, got benefited rupees 100 plus minus 96 rupees 4. I got benefited from this transaction. That rupees 4 is known as repo rate. So from this transaction, this scheduled commercial bank na mo rupees 100 pibanina. RBI got rupees 100, spend 96 rupees, means 4 rupees is the repo rate. 4% is the repo rate. Actually, I'm intentionally taking this 4% because current repo rate of India is 4%. Huji India ki repo rate is 4%. Oi, aduna. Isam na repo rate haibasa. This is the exact definition of repo rate. Asumay detail in explanation to ba kaya yaude the market ta Google da kaya to budi am detail oide. But this is the exact idea of what do you mean by repo rate. But there is a single line definition for you to understand. As I've told you this, there are lots of ways of yamna method myam lai irai line khangba ma natragana detail oina khangba ma. This is the detailed way of understanding what do you mean by repo rate. But here is a one line definition of repo rate. One line the lotion ge. But this is not the exact one. Okay. Repo rate it is the rate of interest at which you scheduled commercial banks borrow money from the central bank RBI. RBI aingondagi schedule commercial bank noina paisa puba do huliba interest to. If you guys borrow money from me and you pay interest to me, that is what we call repo rate. Aduna, that is the idea of what do you mean by repo rate. Aduna, repo rate hairagadi karino mas. Yes.
Sir.
Hongo.
Sir, repo rate se India da policy rate of country hayo khangna bro.
Khangne aduni aino je haigib makok to hai gib do hek hobu dai gib do ko. Repo rate se aduki matik important hoye. Kaigino hairagadi na. Yes, we have lots of reasons are there. Before 1991, Indian economic reform 91 tau dingai mamang dadi it was the bank rate. Bank rate hai bisna repo policy rate hai khangne. But after 1991, now we call this policy rate hai gadi we call it this repo rate. Repo rate is policy rate of the country hai khangne. Because this is the official rate at which central bank will lend money to the scheduled commercial bank. This is the lend and borrowing and lending to dunane. Ariko. Aduna RBI na okay repo rate se arrival loan the hayu haibataragadi actually in a more simplified way scheduled commercial bank when they borrow money from the RBI they have to pay an interest. This interest is what we call repo rate. Don't forget here is a catch phrase. This borrowing by the scheduled commercial bank from the RBI, the central bank, is for the short-term period. Don't forget, this is for short-term period. If you borrow money for long period of time, then that will be called bank rate. So this is the idea of repo rate. This is the exact definition, exact idea of repo rate. But this is the simplified. This is the simplified version of what you mean by repo rate. Jasmine, kanone atay nate ekoi gi introductory class ne mathang da loina halakini, don't worry. Normal classes to go, everything that I'm teaching you here, everything will be repeated. Loina mang halakani aduna ekoi goina introductory class oina tawbani aduna kind of don't worry, I will repeat everything. So repo rate is a short-term lending rate ni masima kaubia de long-term oiragadi it will be called bank rate hairaga kauguduini. Aduna this is the exact version of repo rate. This is the simplified version of repo rate. Usik apply to bahorasi. Remember that RBI degi nang na puri ba paisa se under the repo rate. At this rate, you schedule commercial bank why you are borrowing money. Because you are supposed to give this money to the Mr. XYZ borrower. Kanaguma borrower amada paisa si santok na ba loan pi na ba nang puri ne. Aduna takpadi the amount of money that SBI borrow is actually the money supply in the economy. Economy ki money supply ne. But we know one thing. This money borrowed by the scheduled commercial bank from the RBI is charging an interest rate which is called repo rate. That means if RBI wants, because this is the arbitrary power of the RBI, that they can control repo rate. Repo rate either increase or decreases whenever they want. They can increases, decreases. So from here we know one thing. If RBI wants, repo rate can increase, decrease forever. By increasing or decreasing the repo rate by RBI, money supply will be affected. Affect I will give you this, but the latter part means reverse repo rate. I will ask to you. So get ready. Initially, let's say that on day number 1, our repo rate was 4%. Actually, right now also currently also the current repo rate of India is 4%. On day number 1, repo rate was 4%. Means I'm RBI, you guys are the scheduled commercial bank. No in ngondagi high paisa kita pujage high matam aina kaisu kaide paisa pu but interest rate should be 4% in high na rate. So that is the agreed interest rate. But on day number X, I don't know what is that. Day number X, any point of time, if I want repo rate now, let's assume that increases to 5%. Actually, this must change. In India's history, the direct 1 pointer jump over kashuk laite. If it is increase, either it may be 0.25% increase or decrease like that, but not 1% kati taude. But I'm just taking an assumption here. Let's say that the repo rate now increases from 4% to 5% directly. Directly have to jump to the. That means on day number X, if you borrow money, you will be paying more interest rate to me. Bank no na ingon ki paisa pu da hana 4% lauram bado. Hujikti now I changes to 5%. That means you have to pay me more interest rate than before. You know, here comes the tricky part. If banks, you schedule commercial banks, you are borrowing at higher interest rate. Higher interest rate paisa pu bataragadi. Definitely, you will be charging higher interest rate to the common people. Common people, the interest rate to charge. At the higher interest rate, the borrowers, it may be common people or a company or whatever, borrower hires. These borrower, because of the higher interest rate, will be discouraged to borrow money from the scheduled commercial bank. That is why scheduled commercial bank in return will reduce borrowing from the RBI. RBI paisa pudo madu song pantharakane. See, the trend of event is such that because of increase in the repo rate, people will find it very difficult to pay the interest rate because higher interest rate. You know, you might be saying, 1% increase to no, don't forget. We are talking about India as a whole. When there is 0.25%, no. But you know, can you imagine a businessman who is borrowing more than 100 crore, 200 crore every month, every year? Being tiki chahi kutingi crore cham chani loba midugi oinadi 0.25 increase in terms of money, it will be 20-30 lakhs. Aduna, this is actually, we cannot ignore this kind of increase. For the common borrower, like it doesn't make any difference. But for those businessmen who used to have huge business and used to borrow lots of money, for them, this kind of change will definitely affect their borrowing capacity from the banks. That is why if the repo rate increases, scheduled commercial bank will be reducing their borrowing from the RBI. That is why if repo rate increases, money supply in the economy will reduce. Tarba? Karihabu jigito? Repo rate increase to bahibasi, interest rate increase to bunib. If interest rate increase to taragadi, people will be discouraged to borrow money. Scheduled commercial bank will be discouraged to borrow money. That is why they will borrow less money from the central bank. That is why money supply in the economy reduces. Now, that is the idea of repo rate. But as I've told you, I'm not going in depth. I'm just telling you the basics only. Second part, I will ask lots of questions to you. Get ready for that. I told you about this repo rate. Let me reverse this story. I know you actually that will be the reverse repo rate. Reverse repo rate. For me, let me draw in the right side. Right side to so here is the repo rate. What if the scheduled commercial banks have excess money? If SBI, nang si SBI ne hay na khalo. Generally, okay, in Manipur it doesn't happen, but I'm just taking an example here. Okay, so let's say that you are the bank manager of a branch in Manipur. Manipur da laiba bank branch amagi manager ne hay na khalashi. Every loss and profit of that branch is on your shoulder. Don't forget. So this is extremely risky, and your responsibility is gigantic. Yam thina chawi nang responsibilities. So in a particular point of time, in your bank branch, people are depositing lots of money, but no one is withdrawing it. No one is borrowing money from you. What you will do? Don't forget, every minute that you are having extra money with you, you are losing money to pay interest to the depositor. That means you cannot give this excess money with you long. Yam kuina thambasu yaroi. aduna takpadi every minute this extra money is with you, you are losing money, your responsibilities are increasing, your risks are increasing. What you will do at a time? Kanaguma mi ma phara kana nang na loan lo do yaroi haibu. No, that is not how it works. Then what you will do? At this time, the role of RBI comes in. If you schedule commercial bank have excess money with you, you will simply approach RBI and say that I want to deposit my excess money with you. Don't forget, bazaar ki notes I have come across lots of websites in internet where this reverse repo rate is defined as like RBI borrow money from SBI. No. RBI never borrow money from the scheduled commercial bank. Don't forget. Okay. Actually, in the reverse repo rate, it is the scheduled commercial banks that transfer their excess money to the RBI. Don't forget, I'm saying excess money transferred to the RBI. Okay. Now, when this excess money of the scheduled commercial banks are transferred to the RBI, RBI will pay you an interest rate. I'm a P. That interest rate is known as reverse repo rate. So, as I've told you, repo rate and reverse repo rate, they are opposite. But in a sense, directly opposite in nothing. In repo rate, it is the scheduled commercial banks that borrow money from the RBI. In the reverse repo rate, it is a scheduled commercial bank that transfer their excess money to the RBI. Aduna, karigumba reverse repo rate pu haiba taragadi, don't forget reverse repo rate is an idea where we can simply conclude that there is excess money with the RBI, SBI, with the scheduled commercial bank, the excess money. Don't forget this time in the reverse repo rate, RBI am giving you interest rate to you banks. No, ina interest rate pitch ko. Masaigi repo rate. If you want to decrease money supply decrease to hongi haiba taragadi repo rate increase to gi. Natra. Now this time I'm going to ask you. There are 26 people are there in our chat. Answer me, all of you. Try this. Lanba chumba, don't worry. Just try this. In reverse repo rate, if you want to decrease money supply to decrease to haiba taragadi, what will happen to the reverse repo rate? Hurry up. Increase or decrease? Hurry up in the chat box. And others?
Sir, increase or don't so
Increase.
Okay.
Increase, sir.
Don't forget, answer is increase. Assume the decrease of gray height and assume the opposite when you have a like ko. Actually, idea is that, see, I am giving you interest rate to you. I am giving interest to you. You are receiving interest from me. What is our target? Our target is to decrease the money supply. Money supply to decrease the honbaduni. What is this money supply? It is the amount of money circulated between you and the common people. If I offer you interest rate from yesterday it was 4%. Now today it will be 5% high increase over tarba. That means I'm giving you more interest to you than before, than yesterday. That means you will be encouraged to transfer more money to me. Nang na aingon the paisa yamna transfer toning ko tabani because you will be getting you will be getting more interest, more money in the form of interest because I have already increased the interest rate. Correct. That is why you will transfer more money from you. If you transfer more money than yesterday, you will have less money than before. Money supply decreases. Aduna money supply decrease to reverse repo rate increase. Similarly, in repo rate should also decrease if we want to decrease the money supply. So similarly, we have lots of idea regarding the repo rate, reverse repo rate. Like we have this marginal standing facility (MSF), and we have this idea of coal money market, notice money market. Idea Ma'am Jingdo, yam akup pangatani open market operation. I'm giving you actually in my class. I don't know for other subject, but for my class in my economics class, I use. Okay, ngakang interrupt over. khoi kano net kano tawre disconnect tawre. Okay, now open market oju hai hibudu ko. In this open market operation, the yamna interesting oiba amalai. Currently, it is becoming yamna newspaper the kari yam yawba. Actually, after this class, you can search for it. Operation Twist Hydra Malay. India, for the first time in the history of India, under the open market operation, Operation Twist was introduced in 2019 only. But people na khangnarakpadi khoi ki coronavirus ki matamda 2020 matamsida khatani popular oirakpase. So it's a very new idea in the monetary policy of the country. Operation Twist, TWIST, twist haidana theo. So that's a very new one. Anyway, maduna taba idea ekoi kitang kanu to ano ba khara khara matang chana harake, but Operation Twist is something which is very new. Yamna new oiba enoni idea ni.
Sir, howziki do the karamta hangokiba?
Kari heba.
Howziki reported kanoga kano keva reverse reported na chawbo ya chawbo di yade dana ado chawbo yabra.
No, chawbo yade habisiki maram se, it's a simple logic. See, repo rate is something that you have to pay me. Nang na ingmonda pirakadaw paisa ni. Why you need to pay me? Because you are using my money. I'm RBI, you are the bank. Okay, you are using my money. Why you are using my money? You are using my money in a commercial way. Commercial way amada nang paisa chijina jage haibagi paisa pu bani. That is why you have to pay me an interest rate called repo rate. But the interesting part is that in the reverse repo rate, you, the banks, you are transferring your excess money. Nangi paisa do sijinabam laitre haibagi transfer tawrak baneba. That is why the logic is that RBI, I am not using your excess money. I don't demand your money. Nangi paisa do ay logjage demand to natte. Simply you are transferring your excess money to me. I want the transfer tawrak pa khaktani excess money. So that is why I cannot pay you more than what you paid to me. You pay to me 4% because you are using that money in a commercial way. I cannot give you 4%. 4% yung napibang amoy because simply I'm not using that money in a commercial way. In fact, I don't demand money from you. Ay nangonde pa siya piro haiba peso play kiti. Yaradra. Currently in India, it is 3.75%. 3.75%. Okay, kano se sidaban hai sumiko. Open market operation yes, open market operation is the direct buying and selling of government security by RBI on behalf of government. Open market operation do natte. Under the open market operation, there is a special type of open market operation introduced extremely newly in India only in 2019. Mamang do sutau tawdriba. That is known as Operation Twist. Haiba amaga anobo amaga thoe adu do yengo sidaba homework haigadra kai haidino adu ina yengo. Interesting. Hong.
Sanga sagi ID excess money me amla chale dra ko sa.
Okay.
Ada RBI in laure adu moi reverse repo rate so pire ko sa. Adu haidi moi reverse repo che haidi sigi keno je moi income je RBI je haidi moi karai degi mo oidu moi.
So, Madhuki question is interesting. RBI ki income karino. Don't forget, RBI don't have any income. Actually, RBI is every money is under RBI. RBI na paisa magi income haiba laite. Yes, they used to have some extra income like government security sale toba, then paisa borrow to big income like toba. As you know, the main objective of RBI is not commercial in nature. Means profit making is not an objective of RBI. In fact, the idea of RBI, central bank, is such that they are responsible for maintaining the overall equilibrium of the country, not profit. They don't care about the profit because they are the one, they print money. Paisa print river organization ni. Aduna paisa gi value si moina maintain to wani paisa do print to ngamba organization ni, they don't need income. Income darkar ta de. That is why they are able to give it. Hangadra.
Sa adu moi paisa hen paisa namu pirak tu du matam.
Okay, you introduce a very interesting one. Mayam do question je hange ko. I will answer it. everyone knows that you know, in Manipuri paisa why season, but I want to be very specific. I want to use English terminology only, not Manipuri. It is wrong to say that RBI prints money. Wrong. This is wrong. Actually, you should say like this: RBI prints currency. RBI print currency. Actually, RBI na paisa haibab lali. Paisa is a common word. Currency di RBI na print tobangami. Even coins are not minted by RBI. These are minted by the Ministry of Finance. I suppose you know that. But here is an interesting question. If RBI wants, can RBI print whatever amount they want? Paisa kayam yamna India the print to godabano haibase RBI na condition amagi makhada lepep. Under one condition, RBI decide this much amount of money is to be printed. Sugyam na print to godabani has lepep. What is that condition? Answer me in the chat box. You guess me. You just guess me. My question is that what may be that condition under which RBI prints this much amount of money? Money supply. Okay. Yeah. Others? You know, I like interactions. Interaction tawdraga di kanungai tabane. Inflation. Yes. In the meantime, Arbinita ki the correction am ta hogi ko. Arbinita, RBI do not print currency on the basis of inflation, but opposite happens. What I'm saying, because of RBI printing money, currency, inflation happens. Inflation laibagi RBI na currency print tawgadaba natte. RBI na currency print tawbagi inflation phone bani. Okay, I got only two questions. I mean two answers. Okay, ngasi ko na last topic ko na topic ama haige mayam the clear tawge. Yes, I know we have this very few interaction here because of this online mode and things like that. But I will assure you, remember I hujik tawgadaba topic siya. If you listen very carefully, you will have 3 topics cleared. Mamang the sukang khang daba topic idea ahum clear tawge. Just listen very carefully. I will try to clear the idea of how money is printed by RBI. Currency is printed by RBI. What do you mean by inflation? What do you mean by national income? These 3 ideas I will try explain here. Listen very carefully. Don't forget, in the other labor currencies, these currencies are printed by RBI. Masima nakandudum thamjalo. Just keep this in mind. Let's take one example. I know I'm just giving example. It may not be accurate in reality. India becomes independent in 1st January of 1940. I'm just example it's wrong. I know, but just don't take it seriously. On 1st January 1947, India is independent. Actually, Indian currency started in 1939. But for the timing, 1947 January 1, India became a country. Earlier, there was no such thing as India. But on this January 1 of 1947, India became India. That means if there is a country, there should be a money. Money the country will be yarway. The thing is that RBI is interested to print currency in the country. RBI, here it goes, very important line, listen very carefully. RBI will print currency or money, let's assume money, on the basis of goods and services produced in the country. Okay, there is the answer. Under which condition RBI will print currency? Here is the answer. RBI will print currency on the basis of amount of goods and services created in the economy. Country to the economy to the goods and services kayam yamna create on that basis we will print that much amount of money. Here is an example. On January 1, 1947, only I'm saying only just okay. One mobile phone was produced in India. Actually, it doesn't produce. I'm just taking. India the mobile phone. RBI knows the In India, there is one mobile phone produced. So that is why RBI na mobile phone amaduga chanaba rupees 100 is printed by RBI. This is how money is created by RBI. That means, let's take one example. 2nd of January. January 2nd, India da 1+1 mobile phones are produced in India. Mobile phone ani produced tawre. According to this rate, mobile phone lupa chama pi haina value do lauraga, how much amount of money RBI is supposed to print? Kaya may print no? Actually, rupees 100 plus 100, it is supposed to be printed. Lupa chama chapi ani. 100 currency are to be printed by RBI. But let's assume that. RBI, due to some mistake, this mistake is something which cannot be avoided by RBI. Okay, RBI mistake oina, they print another 100 plus 100 plus 100 means 100 notes print. Actually, only 2 currency is supposed to be printed. But by mistake, RBI is printing another extra 100 notes. Together, there is a creation of 400 rupees notes on January 2. Here is the question. What is the price per one mobile phone on 2nd January? 2nd January, the mobile phone ki maman se kya tarani? Because there is a 400 rupees creation and only 2 mobile phones are produced. Divided by 2, we have 200 rupees per mobile phone. This is the idea of inflation. I know Arvinita, don't forget, inflation is caused when RBI prints more money, when money supply is more than it should be. For example, if RBI prints rupees 100 ki rate, if RBI prints only 100 notes on day number 2 also, there should not be any problem. But RBI is printing another extra 2 more than necessary, extra 2 more 100 notes together on day number 2. 400 rupees has been created by RBI, printed by RBI. Production is 2 per production per one mobile phone. It becomes 200. Now 100 to 200. This is called inflation. So you know 3 topics today. Actually, it may be very simple, but when we talk about this monetary policy or idea of inflation and idea of national income, this idea will be applicable. So, she topics the yes, RBI is responsible for printing of currency. Point number 1. Under which condition RBI is supposed to print currency? It should be on the basis of amount of goods and services created in the economy. What if RBI prints more money than it should? If RBI is printing more money than it should, then it leads to inflation. That is why inflation is caused when RBI prints more currency. Okay, actually that is not an accurate word. Inflation is caused when excessive money supply exists in the economy. Money supply exists in cannot oirable. Ardex na hariba Ardex kiam ki answer say to some extent yes, that is correct. We can consider that amount of money to be printed by RBI depends on money supply. Yes, if money supply increases, obviously you need to increase the amount of money printed. That is why this idea is. Now from here, I suppose most of you have some ideas. The idea of money, then how this is so interesting. Topic because you guys are targeting this banking ki exam se target tauribanina. How wonder is this banking? Wonder interesting exciting this is the last point for me. I will tell you that at the very beginning of my class, I told you that it is not the politician that rules the world. These are the bankers that rule the world. How? Why I'm saying this? First of all, here is in one statement. Money is created. I'm saying you, I'm using very, very specific word. Yes, currencies are printed by RBI. But this time I'm using this word, created. Money is created in the financial system by the banks. How it will be? Look here. Let's say that Mr. A Haribani he have some excess money, rupees 100. This excess money is SBI the Pishale. This SBI deposit this rupees 100 excess money of Mr. A is deposited to the saving account of Mr. A open in SBI. After deducting SLR and the CRR, which is called LRR, 90 rupees is given as loan to Mr. B. Mr. B the loan oina pire. I have a question. Nangna, you are Mr. A. Okay, you are Mr. A. When you deposit rupees 100 in this account, aigi bank ki account nang lupa chama thamba matamda. I deduct some amount and I give this remaining 90 rupees to somebody else. Do you lose your money? Nangi pasyado mangbra? Yes or no?
Mangde.
Mangde ko, because it remains 100 itself. Now let's assume that why this Mr. B is taking this loan. He want to do some productive work. Either it may be piggery farm, it may be some poultry farm, whatever. You are going to use this rupees 90 in a productive way. Yes, I know there might be some losses also. But you, Mr. B, the borrower, Mr. B, have to return these 90 rupees to the bank. 90 rupees to interest count. Let's forget about the interest. At least Mr. B have to return this 90 rupees to the bank. SBI the 90 rupees to amuk sumo halak ka do baneba. Aduna takpadi yengo. Mr. A na after depositing rupees 100, Mr. B got benefited in the form of loan because of his business might boom or whatever, may get lost or whatever. But still, Mr. B have to return this 90 rupees to the SBI, and after deducting LRR, let's assume that another IT rupees is remaining. Now IT rupees can be given to Mr. C. How amazing is this? We are talking about a single rupees 100 deposited by Mr. A. Mr. A do na deposit to given lupa chama do na. Mr. B is benefited. Mr. got benefit. Similarly, Mr. C will again deposit it. Now Mr. D will get benefited on 70 rupees. It keeps on circulating from one hand to another, one hand to another. But rupees 100 of Mr. A remains the same. That rupees 100, single rupees 100 submitted by you, I can use it 100 times. 20, 30 times, this same rupees 100 can be used from one person to another, another to another. Paisa singak tabasu yaw biyay kyam kuina singdaba ngamgani. Bengi paisa puru bahai se I can just grab your land. Nangi land in auction to loire. That is why I don't get any loss. So you deposit rupees 100 only to me. I, the bank, SBI, can make use this deposited rupees 100 in 20, 30 times. Imagine how much benefit I will get it. This is how some in the way. Marak sidai ko. Mr. C is a business successful oy dan hekta magi jara jara chawkhat lambu oy bi. Mr. B mangam bi, but whether somebody get it loss or gain, I don't care. I bank, I have to return the money. I mean, I have to get my money back. At the same time, interest should be there. Interest should be there. That is why I, as a banker, in the middle of everything, in the middle of this loss and profit and deposit and withdrawal, everything, I in the middle, I am making such an arrangement in which single rupees 100 is used 20, 30 times. In the process, I get profit. For every transaction, I get profit. That is why bank is the only institution that make profit, no matter what happens to the consumer, no matter what happens to the borrower. That is why banks are responsible for creation of money in the economy. How creation? Why I'm saying creation? Tanagumba ay nan lupa 90 to piram dapat taragadi. Mr. B, those who want to do some economic activity, poultry farm toning the mido. If because of lack of money, he will not be able to do his business. But I'm giving him 90 rupees. That is why Mr. B is able to do his poultry farm, piggery farm. That is why more opportunities are created, more employments are created because of me. So I am the one, banks are the one who create money in the economy. money creation formula money creation has 1 by LRR amount of money created is equal to initial deposit into 1 by LRR. Lots of interesting things are there. How money is created by bank, how much amount of money will be created depends on this single formula. Formula depend. It's very simple, but it's extremely effective to use in the real world. Real world effective. But anyway, as I told you, this is our introductory class. I suppose you may like it. I don't know whether you like it or not. Substantially, our numbers of participants have decreased substantially. I don't know why. But once you join our classes, as I told you, today is the last classes for the introduction of our teachers. And once you join our classes, it will be extremely, we are very serious, offline, and we are very dedicated. And I hope you don't waste time, because corona when you have time, opportunity will not knock at your door. You have to search for the opportunity, and we are providing the opportunity. And economic once you admitted, okay, once you admitted, we will provide you a book. You don't need to buy books. Once you admit in our institution, we will provide you the books for economics. For almost every subject, we will provide you the books for economics free of course also. And every news and magazines, then every news, current affairs, we will provide it free of course. That are the facility. We are extremely dedicated, and hope you like it. And we shall meet some other days. Here is the end of the day. Hope you guys like it. Bye all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.